Hey, it's Drybear. A new hotfix has been put out for the First Descendant, and while it's not all that big itself, the director's notes that came along with it give us a lot of information of what's coming in the next 2 weeks. So for the hotfix itself, there's a couple things that are pretty sweet in here. They did a bunch of fixes for some major issues and also added some nice quality of life features and some UI UX elements that are going to be pretty nice. They improved an intermittent screen lag issue that occurs when playing on 400% hard. I don't know if this is going to target the Freyna FPS issue specifically, but this looks like there's going to be some screen lag issues about switching between screens or loading between missions, so hopefully that makes that a little bit better. They fixed some scoring UI issues with the score not updating correctly or not being shown early enough after the monster has died, so you can see it. I don't really know why this is a problem in 400% since really you're going way over the max score anyways, but at least it tells you what your score is going through that all the way through, and they've made some improvements to it. ETA-0 is down right now, but he'll be coming back tomorrow, or technically tonight at 3 a.m. Eastern or whatever that is in your local time, so that's going to be coming up, and they've made some changes to the UI. Firstly, they've added a select all option to the menu when you're in ETA-0, so if you want to just take the whole stack of blueprints and sell them, you certainly can. Energy activator blueprints and crystallization catalysts just straight up can't be sold to ETA-0 anymore, and honestly, I'm kind of this opinion that energy activators and crystallization catalysts are the permanently valuable currency in the game. You will always need them. I know there's some people out there that have like 100 catalyst blueprints and 40 energy activators, and they don't have enough in the game to even spend them on, and they want to be able to sell them. But realistically, I think that these are the prime currency of the game, and so making them no longer sold to ETA, at least in my eyes, isn't really that big of a deal, and I think that makes sense. But let me know if you're in the like hyper hardcore crowd where you think you should be able to sell them, you just maybe have a warning associated with it. Let me know what you think about that. When you're selling blueprints to ETA-0, you will no longer be able to sell and waste the blueprints. So what happened before in the first version of ETA-0 is you could sell over your limit. Like you could only have 600 vouchers. You could sell 2,000 vouchers worth of blueprints, and you would get nothing for it because you can't go over the max. Now you can only sell up to the limit of the 600 vouchers. If it turns red, you won't be able to sell. So a very easy quality of life fix, which will make it so that people aren't accidentally selling things that they get nothing for, or selling things that they probably would have liked to have kept. And ETA-0 now displays the name of items that have been sold out rather than just saying sold out. A minor thing, but it's kind of nice to have. They're going to be making some fixes, or there already are in the game right now, to a couple of the invasion missions: chapel, quarantine zone, shelter. All of these have been cleaned up in minor ways. There's some issues where you couldn't queue up in the right place, or the UI was messing up, so they've cleaned that up for invasions, but nothing crazy in that category. They fixed a display error for STMO's creative explosion that wasn't showing the correct numbers. That's fixed. They also added a new button in the UI, so if you go to escape in game, you'll see down here by the hide battle UI button, there is a banner button, which currently doesn't work for me. If I hit this, it'll lag for a second and then nothing happens, but this should normally bring up the banner. For some people, they're saying that it is working for them. They're able to bring up the banner, but it doesn't work for me. But they are adding in more UI options to be able to access the things. I think they should also add a button for being able to open the like Freyna vault shop and view any active events that are going on right now that aren't just, you know, these quests that you have locked. Like, they've got a lot of usability that they need to add, but this is a step in the right direction. They updated it so in the customized menu, when you're changing the hair color of a character, it will flash blue, letting you know what it is that you're coloring. It's another minor thing, but it's a nice little cleanup, so you can see that, you know, just like with a skin, when you're painting it, when it's flashing, you can see what's being changed by your hair dye. They also did some minor fixes for some of the missions in White Knight Gulch and some spawn missions, so some basic bug cleanups between those. They also added a new tier to the reactor and external components, so normally you would do normal tier, rare tier, or ultimate tier. Now it's all tiers. You have an option to switch this to dismantle all tiers. This will dismantle basically everything that is in your inventory. However, it still will keep ones that have been upgraded. So if you've upgraded a reactor on that, it should keep it. So anything that you've put any investment into, it'll keep. But with this option set, you can make it so that it disables, it just destroys everything in your inventory, regardless of what quality it is, and you can just not have to worry about it. I don't know, I feel like ultimate or higher, or even just setting this below is fine, but it gives you another option for the filter, which is always nice. They still haven't gone back on the these items being exclusive to characters. They said that going forward, they want to make sure that the characters that they add to the game are not going to be exclusive. So like these new effects for Ultimate Freyna pack are available for all characters once you unlock the pack for Freyna, which is super nice. But the previous ones they added for the core 5 or 6 that are locked to those characters. You can see on this, it says back attachment, parentheses, Ultimate Lepic. This is only for Ultimate Lepic. He's the only one that can use this back attachment. He's the only one that can use this teleport effect. They have added a new UI element to this pack that is right here. It says this product includes an exclusive item. They're trying to just make this a little bit clearer, which kind of goes backwards to what they were saying about them not wanting to do this anymore. So they haven't really backtracked on that, but on the last patch notes, they did say that they were going to go back and fix these to make them work. Now, some of them I can kind of see, like if they are not only a spell effect, but they're also an animation, like this one, you can see that she's doing a special animation. I mean, I think that's part of what people would want about these effects, like doing this on Ajax or Kyle might be funny or at least novel in some way, but on some of these being linked to only the character, I think is a little bit different and kind of unfortunate because I feel like these packs already don't have a lot of value in them as it stands, and making them less accessible to other characters means that pack itself loses a lot of value because of it. But they did add a UI element that says, hey, this product includes an exclusive item, just to warn you that if you're buying this, something in here, or more than one thing, is going to be exclusive to the character that is shown on screen. They also made some changes to the chat banned word system. This one has been going all over the community, people complaining about not being able to type certain words that aren't really even expletive in any way, and they just generally broadly waved their hand and said, made some changes to the chat banned word system. So let me know if this has improved to you, especially people that are being affected by this. Let me know if it's gotten better. Okay, moving on to the important parts. That was just the hotfix. It's live. All of these changes are in the game right now. The important part of this is going to be the director's comments, where he talks about the patch coming on the 24th and the patch coming on the 30th. It has some new stuff in it. So let's look at these comments here. Over the next week, the dev team will be conducting a final review process of the PS5 Pro build in order to deliver the Pro enhanced features as a day one patch in the future. So long story short, they're saying that they're going to be working on PS5 Pro launch when the Pro is available and people play it. They want to make sure that it is in line with all the new features, the new hardware, all that stuff. So they're just letting you know that they're going to be on top of that. And if you're planning to have the PS5 Pro for that, they'll be able to they'll be caught up with it, or so they say. The next thing is that there's going to be an update 1.1.6 on Wednesday, October 30th, so the day before Halloween. So let's talk about what's in that patch and what's really great. The two things that are the biggest highlight are the things that were supposed, like they mentioned they were working on it. We all assumed again that they were going to be in the update 2 for season 1. It didn't show up. I think this is a communication thing they need to get better at, because it's the same thing that happened with Ultimate Freyna. They showed off Ultimate Freyna, they trailered her, they hyped her up. They didn't say anything about when they were coming, but they said they were. So like step 1, there's a season 1 update coming. Step 2, look at Ultimate Freyna, it's very cool. And then season 1 update comes and Ultimate Freyna's not in it. Same thing for these. They're like, hey, we're working on making defense missions better. We're adding a reactor implant system. There's a new update coming. These aren't in it. Kind of a bummer. I think they need to be making that communication process better, but those two things are coming. So they're going to be improving the special operation defense missions. These are the missions that you go into the game like Kingston and you sit there and you just fight mobs in an area and you just wave after wave, and it gets harder and harder over time. So they're changing it. These missions, by the way, usually take about an hour. Like they take a long time. It's a lot of waves, a lot of downtime between waves, and it gets incredibly boring for a lot of reasons, and people tend to avoid the defense missions, which is why they're addressing them in the first place. They're lowering the amount of stages to 10, and they're trying to reduce the amount of playtime that's required. So rather than an hour-long session, they're looking for about 15 minutes as well to make it much quicker so you get that XP faster. They also say that previously players had to move monster spawn areas to find them. So the best example of this is the Kingston defense mission, where the spawns are all over the map and everyone spreads out, and everyone takes one spawn and they stand still in AFK for an hour, killing mobs that slowly spawn. But what they're looking to do is that with these improvements, they want everything to be concentrated around defense objects, which should make it feel a lot more horde-like in a lot of ways, and also should give more viability to characters like Ajax or Eugen that can make a lot of defense and healing around a specific spot, which should increase some variety in gameplay and also allow you to use those builds to full effect. They've increased the number of spawns per wave, they've focused them in one spot, and they've shortened the amount of time it takes, which should make all of that much better. And the most exciting part of this is that they want to make this the weapon proficiency main focus. They want to make sure that the defense missions are the most efficient weapon proficiency farm, so they want to give it a large amount of weapon proficiency. So we will provide weapon proficiency XP as an additional reward, and while maintaining the existing system reward on top of that, so that you can just jump into a defense mission, stand on a point, kill waves of monsters, and level up your weapons, rather than having to like reset a reactor or a fragment somewhere in the map, which I think is great. And that's kind of where they are right now. The character XP has gotten a lot better with the infiltration operations, but without the buffs we've been given, the weapon XP is still lagging behind and still incredibly slow. Next, let's talk about the Reactor Implant system. This is something that they had been working on, mentioning a lot for a long time. We have reactors that have a mounting option for a specific weapon, and this has been one of the most criticized systems in the game since launch, because realistically it makes the game very difficult to gear for, and also means that you have to have one weapon in hand when you're doing abilities, because that's where most of your skill power scaling comes from, is that mount on your reactor. So they've been working on a system to make this better, and what they want to do is that the one ultimate reactor can have up to 3 weapon optimization conditions. So if you jump in a game and you look at your weapon optimization conditions on these, you can see that they have a optimization condition: when you have this weapon equipped, you will get this crazy boost in skill power activated. What they would like to do is make sure that that's not just one weapon, but it's 3 weapons, and as long as you have one of those 3 equipped at all times, you can have the bonus active, which means that you can cycle through all 3 of your weapons if you have it lined up. And they also say that, and specifically, the second and the third optimization conditions can be changed at any time, giving you the freedom to apply the conditions you want, whatever your weapon settings change. So the fact that they, like previously, when they set the mounting system, they had described it as you will be able to take an existing reactor and copy it, like destroy it and implant it into the other one. So this reactor has Secret Guard and this reactor has Python. I could destroy this reactor, put it on this one, and this one would be Secret Garden or Python as that option. As long as I have one of them equipped, it works well. However, this one's a little bit different than the last tease they gave, because specifically they say the second and third, which tells me that the reactor, that the mounting that's on the reactor when it drops is going to be a fixed value, and then you can control the extra 2 through the implanting system, which is still RNG. It's still kind of unfortunate that you will need the base weapon, but if you know you can add 2 weapons to it, you know, if you're planning to use 3 different weapons, like you wanted to use Nazastra's Devotion, Enduring Legacy, and Secret Garden, you just need to drop a reactor that has one of those, and then you can implant the other 2. So it is going to be a significant improvement over the system we have right now, because then you can control what it is. But it seems like the base mounting condition, the weapon that comes with it when it drops, is going to be a fixed setting, and then you can add and control the other 2 using the implant system, which I think is fair. So that one is coming for the 1.1.6 coming on October 30th. So you'll have that option coming in just 2 weeks. And they also have some quality of life improvements coming, and most importantly, some ultimate weapon revamp in the works. So there's a bunch more quality of life and ultimate weapon revamp. You know, there's obviously a bunch of weapons that really need to be reworked in some way. Like, they just don't work. They're not super heavily utilized by most people. You need something for these weapons, and so hopefully we'll be able to get a bunch more value on those with reworks, and some of the less used weapons, like, you know, maybe even like the handguns or some of the shotguns or some of the launchers, maybe getting some nice reworks to make them super useful. Then next week on October 21st, we'll be rolling out the primary account setup feature on the official website. This blows my mind that Nexon has been around for this long, and it's only because of the folks at Magnum that are saying, hey, this should be a thing, so let's add it to the website. But now on the official Nexon website, you'll be able to set your account and your platforms on the Nexon account, and allow you to set up and change the primary account on the official website and play the game with the set primary account. This should hopefully help with the linking issues that the First Descendant has had, because previously, if you had made a First Descendant account on PlayStation, Xbox, or Steam, and then you linked it to Nexon. What was happening, based on what support was telling us, was that it was then linking your account to a Nexon account and then making a new First Descendant account under that newly linked Nexon account. Your old data was still there, but you had to message support to say, hey, don't use the new one, use the old one so we can link it up. With this, hopefully allows us to see that those are there, and you can switch over the data on your own without having to bug support to get that there. And also on the 1.1.6 on October 30th, they're going to be adding the much requested rename game account feature. Will become available. For anyone who isn't affected by this, when they first launched the game in July, it took whatever your Steam name was or whatever your game name was at the very time, and it locked your name into that forever. So you basically had to have that as your First Descendant account name. So they'll be able to change your name at the end of the month just before Halloween. So if you ended up with something very obscene or ridiculous, you'll be able to swap that up if you so desire. And that's all we've got for the hotfix. A lot of really cool stuff coming. I'm most excited about Ultimate Weapon Revamp. I want to use more Ultimate Weapons in the game. We know the Reactor Implant system is coming in 2 weeks. Special defense operations are going to be making a lot more waves with the weapon XP and all of that, plus some really nice cleanups as well. And let me know what you think about these down below. If you found value in today's video, leave a like down below, leave a comment for the algorithm to help this video get seen by more people, and don't forget to check out my other channels for other content and other stuff and other things.